Oh, hey girl, I didn't see you there. Welcome to Mango Tea! Mango Tea. Made in China, bitch. So for today's video, we're going to be discussing Gerard Cosmetics and their CEO, Jen Gerard. Now, if you guys didn't already see, I made a video last week about Jen Gerard and the sexual harassment complaint that was filed against her by a former employee. An email this morning from an anonymous source about Jennifer Gerard, the CEO of Gerard Cosmetics, and this is explosive news. Now, I decided to take that video down because after talking to Jen Gerard, I thought it would only be fair to tell her side of the story. Because as you guys know, there's two different sides to the story and probably a third story, which is actually the truth of what actually happened. Now, I talked to Jen Gerard on the phone for 2 hours. So as you can see here, there are two different phone calls I had with Jennifer Gerard. The first one was at 8:59 a.m. for an hour and 14 minutes, and the second one was a FaceTime call that was at 10:14 a.m. for 53 minutes. She showed me all her court papers, all her receipts, if you will, and I'll say before I get into it, it's a very extreme circumstance. I didn't necessarily know what I was getting involved with at the time when I made my video. I didn't necessarily know who Jen Gerard was or much about Jen Gerard, besides the controversy that surrounded her brand, whether it's Karina Kaboom or Jaclyn Hill, which we're going to talk about today. Now, before I made this video, I had a former employee reach out to me asking me to tell his story and give him a voice. So the title of the email is Gerard Cosmetics CEO accused of harassment, retaliation, and civil conspiracy. Now, as someone who is an advocate for that very exact thing of being able to have a voice and speak out against whether it's businesses, the Church of Scientology, big corporations, we sometimes feel powerless when we're going up a big entity, for example. So I really trusted, especially with the Me Too movement and the I Believe You, I really did believe him and I really did want to give him a chance. Now, I apologize to Jen Gerard and Gerard Cosmetics because I didn't do my due diligence when I released the video to go and get her side of the story as well, and I felt that it's only fair to be able to take down my video, reshoot it, and include her side of the story. I take responsibility that I did not get her side of the story. I learned my lesson as a newer and smaller drama channel.
Guys, give me a break, I'm learning.
But I really do want to make sure that I tell a complete story when it's something such as this that's very serious in regards to sexual harassment allegation that could really hurt someone's image, for example. Now, regarding the Karina Kaboom situation, you guys might be thinking this is old news, why are we rehashing it, and why are we talking about Karina Kaboom? And is Mango Tea a Karina Kaboom supporter? Now, I'm going to tell you guys first that I have absolutely no connection to Karina Kaboom. I even made a video in support of Sanders Kennedy against Karina Kaboom. If anything, I am not Team Karina Kaboom in any way. I'm not saying I support her channel or anything like that, but after speaking to Jen Gerard on the phone, I think it's very interesting that we start off by talking about Karina Kaboom because she did lead me into some information about Karina Kaboom. This also is going to tie into the Sanders Kennedy video that Sanders made about Jen Gerard. So it's very interesting before we actually talk about the allegations against Jen Gerard. Now, regardless of my personal feelings about Karina Kaboom, this did get Gerard Cosmetics and Jen Gerard in a lot of hot water, and this started a lot of controversy. Gerard Cosmetics came in at number 8 of the 10 most controversial beauty brands of all time, especially with regarding Jaclyn Hill. When I was talking to Jen on the phone, we were discussing the sexual harassment complaint, but I was asking her different questions regarding Karina Kaboom and Jaclyn Hill because for me, as an outsider, I wanted to get more information, and while I had her on the phone, I wanted to get the scoop on what actually happened with the Karina Kaboom situation. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with what actually happened, Jen Gerard did call Karina Kaboom ugly.
Owner of Gerard Cosmetics calling me ugly.
Now, a website actually reported that Jen Gerard initially claimed that she was saying Karina was an ugly personality, and it just cut off that person instead of the full personality because it was a Snapchat story, for example. The CEO was caught on Snapchat calling someone ugly, who gave their product a bad review, I believe. Although she claimed it cut off before she said ugly personality, as if that's any better for a business owner to say about a consumer. A lot of people dropped them after that. Plus, the rise of Morphe seemed to push them to the side of online cosmetics. I think she was really just trying to cover up her tracks. Now, I'm not going to repeat to you guys on camera what Jen Gerard actually said about Karina Kaboom. I can. If Jen Gerard wants me to, I can repeat the comment. I'm not going to, but in my opinion, from what she did tell me, she is not sympathetic at all about what she said about Karina Kaboom. If anything, in my opinion, she still did feel the same way about Karina. Let's put it like that. It seemed that Jen was more upset that it actually got posted, for example, than she was actually remorseful about her sentiments towards Miss Kaboom. When I was watching Karina's video about the situation, this is something that I actually did very much agree with her about.
Have you ever heard of NARS or Chanel or Apple or Mac or any big time company get a negative review of their product and go on social media and say that their customers are ugly? Please let me know of a time that has happened. Oh, that's right. It's never ever happened.
If you want to be a respected brand and you want to compete with the big dogs, you have to start behaving in such a way. You really need to grow up and not make comments such as this. And this to me started the excuse making with Jen Gerard. There was always an excuse, it seemed like, in my opinion, when she was explaining anything, instead of just taking ownership and saying, okay, I might have been wrong in this situation, which I would have liked to heard and almost was expecting to hear. But if not, it almost just seemed like she felt that she was, in my opinion, invincible. She could say or do whatever she wants because she's Jen Gerard, and that's kind of the vibe that I was getting from her. I felt like she was trying to instigate trouble almost, again, with Karina. And this ties into the Jaclyn Hill situation. So when I asked about Jaclyn Hill, again, she was trying to cover up her tracks. She said she could show me text messages, complimentary from Jaclyn Hill.
How much Jaclyn Hill almost kissed her ass in a way.
And then she started talking again in a way about Jaclyn Hill. That is not a way that you necessarily talk about a former business partner, for example. Jaclyn had a very popular collaboration with Gerard Cosmetics at one point, and instead of just being civil about it, starting to gossip and rumor mill about Jaclyn Hill. And I guess it just left a very weird taste in my mouth all around this whole circumstance and everything. And it left me really questioning, what is the truth? What is Jen Gerard not saying? What is she not telling me? She has an excuse for everything, it seems like. So what am I not getting? What is the missing puzzle piece? And I think in the conversation, I sort of figured out what actually happened. Now, after I finished talking to Jen, I agreed that I would take down my video, as I offered to do. I offered her to come on my channel if she even wanted to come on and make a statement. She declined. I offered her to come up with a written statement so I could read it on camera, verbatim, exactly what she would like me to say. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know the whole entire history, so I just want to be able to tell her side, and I want to be able to do her justice by her providing me a statement. She could tell me exactly what she wanted me to convey to my audience about what her side of the sexual harassment story actually is. She declined. She just offered to go on FaceTime and show me different court documents and different things, for example, which I did appreciate her being able to take the time to talk to me and go on FaceTime and show me different paperwork. And I told her to make a new video in a couple days, just because I wanted to sit on it and actually think, do I want to make a whole new video? Do I want to perpetuate this story anymore? Is it going to be good for her or for her safety or protection if I actually do sit down on camera and make a video? Now, before I actually sat down to make this video, Sanders Kennedy talked to Jen Gerard, and he made a video about Jen Gerard and Gerard Cosmetics.
Now, when it comes to sexual harassment and allegations, it's very important to hear both sides of the story.
I actually think it's very funny that Sanders Kennedy made this video and said that it's important to tell both sides when he only talked to Jen Gerard. He's only telling one side of the story. And then he said this.
It's a civil complaint that he made, which was false. She is innocent of these allegations.
How does Sanders Kennedy, of all people, know if she's innocent or not? That's up to the court to decide. And I think that Sanders Kennedy really jumped the gun to say, oh, she's innocent, and it's very important to tell both sides. Now, did you tell both sides of the story, Sanders? Because I only heard you telling Jen Gerard's side, and you said it's only fair to tell both sides. Now, you claim you saw my video, which I'm not actually sure if you actually did see my video. I'll say why. Then Sanders said he reached out for a comment.
I have reached out to this fellow YouTuber who did make the video to hear their side of the story, because if you're going to be talking about somebody, make sure to even just try and reach out to them. As of right now, of me filming this and me editing this, I have not heard back from this individual.
This is the Instagram message that I got from Sanders. Hey Steven, I'm reaching out because I seen your video on Gerard Cosmetics. I reached out to Jen to get more information on the case. Is it possible to forward me the email you received with the report about her alleged harassment? Would love to be able to review since didn't take any screenshots or pull the video. I'm just going off of memory. Thanks. Now, I saw this message from Sanders after he posted his video about Gerard Cosmetics. He sent it around 3 p.m. LA time, and his video was up, I would say, around 8 p.m. LA time. So there was about 5 hours where I didn't respond because, again, it was in my request folder. Because on Instagram, you don't get notified if you get a DM from someone who you don't mutually follow, for example. Now, I don't follow Sanders on Instagram. He doesn't follow me. So his message automatically went into my request folder. Now, for Sanders to paint the picture that he reached out for a comment from me and I didn't answer, only give me 5 hours in an Instagram DM. If you're really trying to reach me, I have several emails that I list in the description box below. I have Twitter, I have Facebook. There's multiple ways to reach me if you were really trying to do due diligence to get my statement, my side of things, and my opinion on this whole entire matter. But I just feel like Sanders was very quick to put out a video after talking to Jen Gerard, because Jen was involved in getting Sanders to make a video. Now, why do I think Jen Gerard picked Sanders Kennedy? Oh wait, let's go back. Karina Kaboom. Now, obviously Jen has her issue with Karina Kaboom, but so does Sanders. Sanders has a whole ongoing NYPD case against Karina Kaboom where he was on camera begging his followers to find out the real identity of who Karina Kaboom is. Now, if Jen Gerard wants her story painted in such a way that flatters and compliments her, who would she go to for a drama channel to ask them to do that? None other than Sanders Kennedy. Sanders has a beef with Karina Kaboom. Jen Gerard had her reputation hurt by Karina Kaboom. Now, it only makes sense to me that they made a video together based on their common hatred of Karina Kaboom. Just like when I was on the phone with Jen Gerard, she was trying to sparkle me with compliments, saying how much she loved my channel, how much she loved my husband and my dogs. Even after we got on the phone, she was leaving sweet little messages to me because she wanted me to make a complimentary video towards her. She offered me makeup advice. She offered me if I need any help with my channel in terms of learning more about how a makeup brand works, she can give me more information. She was telling me how much she likes me at the end of the phone call, and I think it was all just a way to butter me up in a way, tell her side of the story only, kind of push to the wayside the guy who's making these allegations against her, just so that her image and everything is painted in a very nice white light, we can say. No, I'm not saying there's not truth to Jen Gerard's circumstances. I'm not saying that she doesn't have a very real fear of what's actually going on, which we're going to talk about. I'm not saying that this guy didn't stalk her and harass her or any of that sort of stuff. I'm just saying there may be more to the story that we don't actually know about.
Without tiptoeing around it anymore,
let's get into the meat of the story. A former employee of hers reached out to me asking me to give him a voice because he had claimed he had been sexually harassed by Jen Gerard. Now, as someone who has been a victim of sexual harassment myself, I really identify 2 other victims, so I jumped in right away to tell his story to my audience. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I am sorry that I didn't get Jen Gerard's part of the story before actually filming my video. I was thinking of it almost like a Harvey Weinstein situation where it's like, how am I actually going to reach Harvey Weinstein? I almost correlate to the same thing as like, how am I going to reach Jen Gerard if she's the CEO of this company? You don't really think that they are accessible. But again, that's not an excuse. I didn't get her side of the story. I went with this with my heart in it to really think that I was doing good by telling this guy's story. I didn't know that there was an extreme situation surrounding this. Again, I think it's in the 1% of these type of allegations that actually happen. Now, Jen Gerard's side is very extreme and presents a lot of danger and stalking, etc. So again, I wanted to make sure I did her side justice by telling it as well. So here is one of the emails I received from the former employee. Owner of Gerard Cosmetics is currently being investigated for sexual harassment, retaliation, and civil conspiracy. An employee of Gerard Cosmetics filed charges against the CEO for her misconduct toward him. He asked for an independent investigation from an outside investigator into the matter, and the Gerard Cosmetics refused to release the results because it was not favorable to the CEO. Once the employee filed charges in response to Jennifer Gerard's constant harassment, she retaliated against the employee legally by claiming the employee pursued her, which was not true. She, Jennifer, managed to use her money and power to obtain a civil order against the employee in court when he didn't have the representation against a corporate lawyer, immediately after the former employee filed charges previous to her filing. However, it is now being discovered that the employee was actually telling the truth. Jennifer Gerard used a civil order she obtained to slander the former employee and to discourage him from pursuing further legal action. She is now under investigation for committing civil conspiracy for her actions after the employee filed the charges on a protected activity. Now, when I got this email, it came from a man by the name of Greg Prusmushkin. Now, when I looked into this name, it led me to a law firm. So when I Googled Greg's name, it led to a law office in Philadelphia. I went onto the website for the law offices of Greg Prosmushkin. Under criminal law, I came across a page for sex crimes. To me, I thought that this was validating towards the email I received about sexual harassment. Now, as I'm reading it, it doesn't state to my knowledge that Mr. Prosmushkin even represents claimants, being the ones who initiate a sexual harassment claim against someone. He's also based in Pittsburgh. For all I know, he could have been based there. However, when I saw this website, I immediately came to the conclusion, based on this, that Greg was communicating to me on behalf of his client. However, this attorney doesn't represent this individual and was all just a ploy to trick me. I'm not going to reveal the actual email it came from, but it did come from an attorney's address, or so it appeared to be. So to me, I thought, wow, this lawyer is representing the former employee, and they're both coming forward to talk on my channel and tell their side of this Jen Gerard situation. Here she is, the CEO of this company, and here's this lawyer with his client trying to get the message across. Why did they pick Mango Tea of all people? I don't necessarily know. They probably knew I do a lot of work in exposing the truth, for example, and they knew that I would most likely give them a voice to be able to tell their side of the situation. However, I am led to believe that this email actually was just created by this former employee in order to present a more believable story to me, so I would be more likely to tell a story on my channel. So included in this email was the actual complaint that was filed against Jen Gerard, and this is what it said. I began my employment with Gerard Cosmetics on or about July 1st, 2015, and my last position with the company was warehouse worker. Beginning on or about December 30th, 2015, and continuing until the present, I have been sexually harassed by Jennifer Gerard, CEO. The sexual harassment has included but not limited to being told I should ask her on a date on December 30th, 2016, implying that she could provide money and vacations for me and my children, and only booking one room for the two of us to share on a business trip to Europe on or about January 27th, 2016 to February 15th, 2016. After declining a sexual relationship with Miss Gerard on or about January 8th, 2016, and continuing until the present, I have been subjected to different terms and conditions of employment in retaliation, which has included but not limited to being reassigned to be a warehouse worker in or about March 2016, being threatened with termination on multiple occasions, being told that I must clock in and out daily as a salaried employee, being denied a copy of an independent investigation that took place regarding my allegations of sexual harassment, being given an eviction notice on June 13th, 2016, and having Miss Gerard's attorney contact the Department of Children and Family Services on June 15th, 2016 regarding my children. On or about June 14, 2016, I was discharged. I also believe that Gerard Cosmetics is providing unfavorable references to potential employers. No reason was given to me for the sexual harassment. No reason was given to me for the different terms and conditions of employment. No reason was given to me for the discharge. No reason was given to me for the unfavorable references. I believe I have been discriminated against due to being male and subjected to retaliation for participating in a protected activity in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended. Now, of course, with the Me Too movement and the I Believe You, we really do want to believe people when they're speaking out saying, I was sexually assaulted, I was sexually harassed, I was sexually abused. You, of course, want to believe that person. Like, why would you want to have any doubt on that? But I'm realizing that someone who doesn't have good intentions can easily ruin the reputation or image of someone if they don't have the right intention behind it. It's one of those sort of situations that you really have to base on an individual basis and really do like your investigation, for example, if this is a workplace situation, and really look into, is there something else behind the claim? Is this because the person's vengeful? Did they get demoted, for example? Did they have some sort of vendetta against this person? So I think that's something that you have to really look into with these type of claims. Now, I didn't work for Gerard Cosmetics. I never met Jen Gerard. I talked to her on the phone once for about 2 hours. I could only gauge what she told me on the phone call, but I wasn't there. You guys most likely weren't there as well. You weren't in the factory boxing up lipsticks, for example, and seeing the atmosphere of what it was actually like inside Gerard Cosmetics when this guy was there. So like I said in the beginning of this video, you kind of just have to take a little bit of his story, a little bit of her story, and then draw your own conclusion on this matter. I'm left after hearing both sides, not even sure what to believe. So after I posted my video, I fell asleep and I started getting these messages from Jen Gerard at around 3 in the morning. So as you can see here, I started to receive a string of emails from Jen Gerard, including one that was dated at 3:20 a.m. Hi Steven, I woke my attorney up at midnight to prepare a cease and desist. Now, I woke up around 8 to 9 a.m. from a string of emails from her, as well as from some other like beauty influencers and other people who are friends with her started messaging me to contact Jen. They had similar messages coming to me regarding Jen Gerard, so I just thought that was very interesting to say the least. So I put my video on private because I had Jen's phone number, so I decided to call her up and hear her side of the story and hear her out. All I knew at this time was what I was told from this former employee. I didn't know anything about the stalking or any of the other allegations that were made, and to me it just seemed like the CEO was ready to send me a cease and desist letter because she didn't want these allegations or claims out there about her. I thought she was just going to get on the phone and instantly deny, and come up with her own side of the story. And actually the call went in a whole different direction. So I pretty much just started talking right away when she answered. I said, look, Jen, I don't really know anything about you. I don't have anything personal by making my video against you. I was giving a voice to this former employee of yours who has some very serious allegations. I wanted to put his story out there. I didn't necessarily know what I was getting into with this situation because her emails did start detailing a lot of the different things she was to tell me over the next 2 hours on the phone. So here's one of the emails from Jen that does outline her side of the story pretty well. Steven, my attorney is in the process of preparing a cease and desist. You really should have contacted me before making your video about me. The allegations are patently false, and the individual involved is a very dangerous individual who has been stalking and threatening me since mid-2016. He is angry because I moved from my former home, and as of right now, he doesn't know where I live, which is why he is reaching out to channels like yours to try to have people help him find my current address. This individual has had at least 5 civil restraining orders and 2 criminal protective orders issued against him in various courts in California. He repeatedly violated my restraining order and was sent to jail and held on $125,000 bail. He was ultimately sentenced to 7 years in the county jail. You cannot know what it's like to have to hire armed security to sit outside your home 24 hours a day and having to buy a gun to protect yourself, even though you hate guns. Leaving the house afraid that this person will break in and kill your dog because they know that that's the most important thing in your life. Please call me ASAP. With every passing minute, you're only making the situation worse for both of us. There is no possible way that I could sleep tonight after what you have done. Please call me ASAP. Have a great day. So when I was speaking to Jen, she actually said that she didn't deny that she actually had some type of relationship with this guy. Now, when she was talking to me, she was also talking very much about the Bible, about Jesus, about people who go to church, or friends of hers, for example, and she was actually coming at it from like a religious angle, which it doesn't necessarily work on me if you try to say like, I'm a woman of God, for example. It doesn't necessarily work on me because I left a religious cult and I'm not religious after I left that cult, so for me to defend yourself with religion doesn't necessarily work on me, but I get that this other guy who was her former employee was using religion as a way to manipulate her, just like how I was manipulated almost in a way to make a video by being painted a different picture. So it seemed like to me from what she was telling me that there was some type of relationship, some type of spark there in the beginning where she did enjoy the company of this individual, where she was willing at some point in time, because of course this guy has an ex-wife and there was domestic violence related incidents with this sort of ex-wife. Just like Sanders Kennedy said, there was so much of the story now, and I was trying to follow this story to the best of my ability, so bear with me, but she was showing me legal bills that she was paying on his behalf to basically fight for his custody of his kid, for example, or against the ex-wife. It had something to do regarding that matter. Now again, I did ask Jen to provide me an exact statement that I could read on camera, or have her even come on camera, just so I can actually get the details 100%. But she did decline, but she did say that she could show me as much as she could on FaceTime, for example, and relay as much information on the phone to me, and then I would go out and tell the story and draw my own conclusions, if you will. So Jen was then paying the legal bills for this former employee. Now you think, most companies that I've ever worked for, I mean, granted, I haven't worked for the best companies out there in America, but I never met a boss or someone who would be willing to pay $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in legal bills. So that's when she started explaining these different things to me. I'm starting to try to piece the puzzle together. Why is she paying his legal bills? He's a big boy. She's employing him. If anything, the money that she's paying him as salary, why isn't he using that to pay his attorneys for his own things? So clearly they had some type of personal relationship. She said to me, you can even tell your audience, I do not deny that there was a relationship at one point with this individual. So to me, I'm drawing the conclusion now, again in my opinion, that this was like a relationship that may have gone south and then has resulted in this guy who may have a little bit of a crazy loony tendency to then go stalk her and harass her, and then she feels threatened with her safety and all of that sort of stuff. Now, Jen was saying to me, of course, with this ongoing case, she can't necessarily discuss, because she was the employer, she can't necessarily discuss to me the exact details of what went on, such as why he was demoted, why he left the company or was fired or terminated from the company, for example. I couldn't necessarily get that information. But she was telling me, well, he was getting paid to box lipsticks, for example, so I don't know what his problem was. Well, this guy claims that he was demoted from his position. Now, it's just like, for example, if I was a hairdresser and then all of a sudden I get demoted to mopping the floor. I'm going to be rightfully upset if I don't feel that there was a rightful reason to why I was demoted from my position. So there's some of these different missing puzzle pieces that I don't really necessarily understand. But again, I'm just telling you what I got from the conversation. If Jen wants to make a video, for example, for her own YouTube channel or her own audience, or make a statement, that's up to her to be able to do that if she feels that that's necessary. Now, many people have been asking me to do this video, for example. I've even declined doing the video. I said I was, and then I said maybe I'll do a statement on social media, maybe not. Everyone wanted me to make this video, so I'm telling the story from my own perspective and what I gathered from the call with Jen Gerard. Now, I do believe that this guy does pose a risk in Jen Gerard's life. Now, this guy may not have all his marbles in the right place, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? This guy may actually be very dangerous and very crazy. Jen was so afraid that she actually had to buy a gun. She has moved from her home. And then she was afraid that people would start investigating from watching videos such as this. Pull up her home address, give it to him, then he'd find out where she lives. She just bought this home. The deed's gonna go public, which means that basically anyone could find out where she actually lives. Now, she has a protective order on this guy. I'm sure if Jen goes to the court and actually does have a legitimate fear that this guy is going to kill her, for example, why wouldn't the court seal that? They have the ability, if someone's life is truly that much in danger, where Jen said she had bodyguards around her 24 hours a day, that she truly felt that she was in that much level of danger, for example. And obviously, if they gave her this court-appointed restraining order or protective order, there is some basis, obviously, of danger and fear, and the court obviously agreed enough to give her the restraining order or the protective order. Now, Jen showed me on FaceTime. She showed me all the court paperwork and everything, for example. She showed me that he was on $125,000 bail. You just don't get $125,000 in bail if you just do like a very minor crime, for example. So I do believe that this guy actually is crazy. Now, again, do I think that there may be some element where it's almost like, do you ever have like a friend, for example, that's ever like, you know, oh, someone's following me. There's someone behind me. Oh my God, they're gonna kill me. Oh my God, oh my God. Or like they're in their house and like, oh my God, there's a ghost. You know, like those type of friends, for example. I think there may be a small element of that in the Jen Gerard story, where there may be a lot of drama surrounding this circumstance, where she might have blown it up in her head to such a degree where, yes, there is a level of danger and there is a level of stalking behavior. He's shown up and he sends her thousands of text messages, or at least hundreds of text messages at that. I do think that there is a real fear. But I think to say that you live with bodyguards and you're afraid he was going to kill you, look, for the most part, I'm not a serial killer, but I've watched enough of these type of shows and I've consulted with some different people on this sort of matter, and most people have said he would have already killed her by now. If that was his intention, he would have done so by now. He wouldn't wait a year. He would have already done so if he actually was going to kill her. You know, before you get to the point of fearing for your life, you're usually already dead or in so much danger where you don't have time to actually think. I don't necessarily know if he's going to kill her or not. Jen's like, I bought a gun. I'm not someone who believes in violence or anything, but I just needed to protect myself. And I totally agree. If she actually feels she's in that much danger, she should have a gun. But to me, hate me for it if you may, but I do think that there's just something more to the story that we just don't know about. So Jen was basically telling me that she felt that this guy had a vendetta against her. And she also believes that the other employees felt that their lives were in danger. Now this brings us back to the employee's initial complaint. He said that there was an investigation and it wasn't favorable to Jen, and that's why she hasn't shown him. And then Jen was saying, well, it's not any of his business, which I do agree. It's probably not his business to see a report that she initiated. And Jen was claiming that those employees who did say things favorable or didn't necessarily come out in support of Jen were doing so because they were scared of him, which I do think is a convenient excuse, because why wouldn't they, her employees, then back up her? Why would they say anything favorable to the guy who they were actually fearful of? It just doesn't make sense to me in that regard. Now, when Jen was going through the text messages, she was kind of scrolling through like this. So she'd be like, here's one page of text. Here's another page of text, here's another page of text, and she had like paper printouts of all these text messages. I do think he honestly was stalking her, and I do think that he was trying to manipulate or intimidate her with all these different things, and especially with religion, like she's going to be condemned to hell and all these different things, and what are you doing, and you're going to court. So much drama in those texts, guys, from what I saw. But then I saw a text message that said something such as, I regret ever sleeping with you to begin with. So now they slept together. Jen didn't tell me that part. Again, could he just be crazy and made that up? But then she was telling me that she didn't deny that there was a relationship. So when you have a relationship, most people sleep together when they're in a relationship. So that's why I'm telling you guys, I think that this was just like a relationship where there was a breakup or something went south, or she actually saw that he was kind of crazy in the head, dissociated with him. He got really angry and revengeful towards her, and then all the danger started, and all the stalking, and where she felt like she was actually at risk. I do think that's very real. Even if he seemed like a nice guy in the beginning, he still could come out to be a crazy motherfucker at the end. Do I think that Jen has a lot of perceived danger in her head that doesn't actually exist in real life? Yes. Do I think that this guy is dangerous and should have a restraining order, and these two should not ever cross paths again? They should never mention each other's names? Exactly. Did Jen get too involved with him? I think yes. She was paying court and legal bills for him, guys. I mean, let's think about that for a moment. She did have some type of relationship with him that we both may not understand. Now, over the last couple days, I've been hearing from like some smaller beauty guru, makeup sort of influencer types asking me, can you send me the email about Jen? Then Sanders Kennedy, can you send me the email about Jen? And I just feel like Jen is behind all of this, where she's working her back channels to try to get what she wants. Jen has my phone number, she has my personal email, and she also has 2 additional emails for me that I have public. So she has 3 emails for me, my phone number. If Jen really wanted this email that badly, she could have emailed me to follow up. I heard from her once, and that was it. The reason I feel like she's working these back channels, and again, I'm not blaming Sanders Kennedy necessarily. I have no beef with those sort of guys. They're drama channels. I like to remain friendly to all drama channels, but I feel like it's just Jen Gerard behind it, trying to tell her story in such a way. It's like, why is there just so much cover-up? I just feel like there's something else going on that Jen is now trying to work with everyone else to try to get the story out there in such a specific way, where of course she wouldn't approve necessarily what I just said in this video, but with someone like Sanders Kennedy who doesn't like Karina, and Karina and Gerard had an issue, then there's going to be a more favorable video that may come out. But I'm real with you guys. I'm not swayed by someone saying, I'll give you makeup advice. You're great. I love your channel. You can't butter me up. I know if someone's trying to persuade me one way or the other, but my drama channel, I'm going to tell it how it is. I'm going to tell both sides of this story, whether someone likes me, whether someone doesn't.
This is my channel with my facts and my opinions.
You know, I want you guys to base your own opinion on this matter. Now, I don't want you guys to send any hate to Jen Gerard or Gerard Cosmetics or to the other individual. That's not what this video is about. I do not want any bullying or name calling in the comment section down below, or I will shut down the comments if it gets to that sort of level, because I don't think anyone deserves that. There's 2 sides of these stories. Let the courts handle it from there. I was asked to make this video, so I'm making this video. I didn't want to make this video. I didn't want to get involved any further, and I didn't want to make this video, but I do feel that it is important to tell both sides of the story and come on and give my opinion on the situation and what actually happened from my side before other drama channels try to make a video and speculate when they weren't the ones that were actually involved in the situation to even begin with. Now, I do wish Jen Gerard and Gerard Cosmetics the best. I really hope that she does figure out this situation with this individual and works it out to an amicable conclusion where he's not stalking her or harassing her or texting her or getting involved in her life. And I hope that she could peacefully move on with her life. I don't think that anyone deserves to live in that level of fear, whether it's real, imagined, or a little bit of both. I don't think that anyone deserves to live in that level of fear. That's why I initially didn't want to make a second video on it. I didn't want to necessarily put her in some form of harm's way by then giving her side of the story, and then he says, oh, she said this about me, so now I need to get revenge at her. Now, I just didn't want to perpetuate any more drama between the two, because now I'm the middleman and both are whispering in my ears, and I just didn't want to be that guy. Unfortunately, I got myself caught up in the situation. I did want to clear up the air with both sides of the story. This guy was violating his court order, and I'm honestly really hoping that this situation gets sorted out. Hopefully he gets put back behind bars and the situation is completely at rest. But I do want to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Also, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, as well as clicking that little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make a new video. So if there's any new upcoming developments, you can find it here on Mango Tea. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on my next video.